of you just joining us, we are celebrating. We just talked about the wonderful new book that's coming our way, Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. But that's not the only thing we have to share today, because, Michael, I would love to know a little bit more about some very, very fun new magic items for spring.
Oh, yes. So we're celebrating spring with a small collection of homebrew magic items that we've published to D&D Beyond. I worked closely with Cameron Powell to create these magic items. He's a master of just all of the terminology and the correct phrasing of doing homebrew magic items. So really fantastic, very imaginative person. Uh, he's great. Um, so we
Chat,
have
you know him, you know and love our halfwing, aka not a halfwing, but
yeah.
has worked with us again to bring these to life. Um,
So we've got 5 items. We've got the Blooming Blade. We'll go through these. We got the Blooming Blade, Ring of the Eladrin Lord, the Boutonniere of Boons and Veins, a Marvelous Egg, and the Wheel of Reincarnate.
I love that the common element is chaos. I really appreciate that about spring because who knows really what's coming our way. But tell me about the gorgeous and wonderful blooming blade.
The Blooming Blade is an uncommon magical longsword. So blossoms adorn the hilt of this longsword, which takes the form of a gnarled tree branch. While holding this sword, you can cast Druidcraft as an action, which is a really great tool for fighters and your paladin types who just want a little bit of a tool to connect with their nature side. What's neat about the Blooming Blade is that when you attack a creature with this magic weapon and you roll a 20 on the attack roll, flowers will bloom from the blade and around you. And the creature that you are attacking has to make a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you until the end of its next turn, which is a really great way. It's a really great defensive option. It's very flavorful because I can just sort of imagine you strike an enemy and all of these flowers begin to bloom around their eyes, and then they see you just glinting in the sunlight as all these plants and flowers grow around you. And they're like, I can't attack that guy. He's way too cool.
I do love, like, you are critically impressive, really, is what happens with this. I love that concept. I think, by the way, the art on these has been fantastic. Do you have handy where people can find more work from the artist of these?
I will grab that for you and share it in just a sec.
Excellent. Because yes, they came to life so beautifully. I love the concept. And also just shout out to, I'm guessing, Cameron, for you've heard about the sword of the stone. Now prepare yourself for the blade in the glade. Perfection. Um, I am increasingly interested in whatever the lore is behind these items, by the way, as they get the wonderful detailed cells. So the ring of the Eladrin Lord. What is this one, Michael, and what might I expect from it?
I love this ring. So the ring of the Eladrin Lord features ever-changing depictions of the 4 seasons. In this particular image, we're seeing a depiction of 2 foxes that are sort of dancing in a spring setting. The ring, much like the Eladrin, is a bit of a fickle magic item. So once per week at dawn, you're going to roll a d4 and you're going to consult a table to determine the ring's seasonal temperament. So you can have an Eladrin ring that maybe depicts spring, but then the following week, suddenly you're in winter or summer or autumn. And depending on the season depicted within the ring itself, you're going to be able to access a certain spell, such as Calm Emotions, Snillock's Snowball, Swarm, Enhance Ability, or Heat Metal. But more importantly, the magic item will actually affect your character's personality. So in spring, you're feeling fresh and vibrant. You're habitually humming a pleasant tune quietly to yourself. But in winter, you retreat into an icier mood where your speech and laughter become more muted in tone.
So, Michael, you know what this means.
Oh, yes, I do know
It
what
means
this
you need to get a D4.
I'm pulling up. How did I not see this coming before this moment?
It's the perpetual sneak attack. Um,
Yes. All right, I have my character sheet open and ready to roll a d4.
Excellent. Please, you have been gifted a ring of the Eladrin Lord. It is time to roll 1d4.
I rolled a 4, so I rolled summer. My temper rises
Ooh.
to the surface. I tend to lash out more readily than usual, but once per day I can cast heat metal, which is a really great spell.
If you don't know the secrets of heat metal, definitely check those out. I believe we have a D&D Beyond article to guide you on those underappreciated wonders. And I should note, by the way, I have been showing off our item view because this is a homebrew that we made. I can see the beautiful pictures on these. It will look different if you add it to your homebrew due to the way our system works. So sorry in advance on that one. The homebrew magic items have been shared with the community, which means you can add them to your homebrew collection. When you add published homebrew to your collection, it can be used on your character sheet just like official content. It will also be shared automatically with members of your campaign so that these other players can enjoy it as well. If you have an active D&D Beyond subscription, you can add published homebrew to your collection at the click of a button. Just follow the links in this article. You can add them to your collection. The link to this article is running in chat or is in the description. And we have several more items to go. And the next one, I gotta say, I love this one. The boutonniere of Boons and Veins. This is a half blooming, half withered flower. Michael, what does it do?
So this is a legendary wondrous item. It's immensely powerful, but it is balanced by the fact that it is a limited use item. You're going to be you this boutonniere has a cut flower that's both been imbued with the genie's power and has been cursed by a hag. So when you first get the item, you're going to roll a d4 to determine how many yellow petals you have. These are the petals that have been imbued with the genie's power, and you're going to roll a d4 to determine how many black petals you have, and these are the petals that have been cursed by a hag. So when you have the boutonniere, you can choose to spend an action plucking either a yellow petal or a black petal. And when you do so, you're going to roll on a d4. You're going to roll a d4, consult one of two tables, and then determine the effect that occurs. So if you have a d4 handy, Amy, let me know, would you pluck a yellow petal or a black petal? And then we can determine what happens.
We're actually going to go one step further. I'm very excited to pluck
Ooh,
a petal, but we are going to get a poll going in chat and find out
ooh.
which petal, if we can put that in about a minute, chat would like us to draw from the boutonniere of Boons and Veins. So as soon as those results are in, the mods are going to pass them to me, and we will come back to find out what happened. Hmm? And
Nice.
next up, we have the marvelous egg. Michael, what is the marvelous egg?
Oh boy. Okay, so the marvelous I this is a nice little bit of a little bit of chaos for your table. So if you're looking to perhaps give one of your players an animal companion, you can hand them a marvelous egg. The marvelous egg itself is about a foot in size. I believe it's maybe like 10 pounds. Yes, it's 1 foot in diameter, weighs 10 pounds. And if you take care of the egg, keep it warm, undisturbed for a full month, the egg will hatch into a random creature. So I hope you have plenty of dice handy because these items really do make use of your dice. If this
We
one
do love
requires
dice.
this one requires a d12. So if you want to roll a d12, Amy, we can find out what kind of marvelous egg you would hatch.
All right. Today, when I hatch my marvelous egg, I'm going to have it's a one. What have I got?
A one. You hatch a badger. This is a adorable tiny beast. Uh, armor class 10, maybe not the strongest creature out there, but it comes out and it loves you, right? So it's friendly to you and your companions. You can, if you are so inclined, you can use it in combat. It will act on your turn, unless otherwise stated. You could use a bonus action to command the creature, ask it to move in a certain spot, ask it to take maybe the help action or to attack on its turn. Um, Otherwise, the creature will act in a fashion that makes sense for its particular nature. But the most important part is you hatched a badger and it loves you.
And please do check out the article because there might be some Easter eggs of references in this section that you're particularly going to enjoy. If you are a fan of, magical creatures that you train and travel with. Mm.
I will
And
add for the marvelous egg that there is one creature that is not so friendly towards you. So it's not always good what happens when the marvelous egg hatches.
all right, and chat has voted, and the votes are in, and they want to see what happens when we choose Bane. We're picking a black petal today. And I've got my D4 handy. So, Michael, I've picked a black petal, and I get a 3. What's going to happen?
3. So you will curse a creature so that whenever it makes an attack roll or saving throw, it must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the attack roll or saving throw. This is similar to the Bane spell, except that this is a continuous effect, and you must cast remove curse on the creature in order to end the effect.
Be careful who you pin this boutonniere on because they will wield both great and terrible power. And thank you, chat, for choosing terrible power when given the choice. I'm learning something new about you every day. Our final item is one of my favorite. And that, Michael, tell me about this great little backpack we got here. What is the Wheel of Reincarnate?
So the Wheel of Incarnate is a very heavy item. It is carved completely out of the trunk of a tree and it has attached to it a wheel that depicts an assortment of humanoid creatures. It does come with carrying straps for ease of carrying and contains when you first get it a small reservoir of ceremonial oils. These oils are the spell components to cast the spell reincarnate. If you're unfamiliar with this particular spell, if you are to die and someone casts reincarnate on you, you are brought back to life, but you have to roll on a table to determine what your particular lineage becomes. So you could be an elf who dies and suddenly finds themselves awakening, brought back to life in the body of a hill dwarf.
So
What's
I love this very much. So you do need to provide the material components for this. So it's not just a get out of death free card. But I love there's a special consequence to getting reincarnated with this item, Michael.
Yes. So, as you said, the Wheel of Incarnate, it does come with the spell components for one use of the Reincarnate spell. What's different about this spell is that with this particular magic item is if you're brought back through using this wondrous item, you're going to have some physical changes on top of your lineage changing. So perhaps you awaken and your hair is made out of flowering vines, or you smell faintly of fresh earth and morning dew. You can kind of flavor it in whichever way you want. The point is that this magical item kind of imbues you with elements of nature on top of using the reincarnate spell.
I love that so much. And of course, it matches the flavor of spring, of rebirth, of transformation. And you can use these in whatever season. If you want to save them 6 months and you're in the southern hemisphere, and then use them on your transformation, they will be available to you all year round. Now that they have been published as homebrew items here on D&D Beyond. Michael, what is the first thing you plan to do with one of these items in a game?
I the blooming blade was the first magic item I thought of because there was a College of Swords bard that has been living in my head who would absolutely love to wield this very gaudy sort of blade and to have this incredible role play intense flourish on a natural 20. So yeah, my first plan is to equip that item to my character. Um, However, the mysterious egg, that is the item that I am most excited to give to my players. I tend to include in each of my campaigns some sort of item of chaos. So, in one campaign, went shopping for trinkets, and among these items was just a little purple egg, and they didn't buy it. But when the session ended, they're like, "Hey, we're not gonna get this, now that we've left the shop, but what's the egg?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the egg of a purple worm. And if you had taken it, interesting things would have happened because, hey, maybe its mother is looking for it." So the the marvelous egg is my way of not completely terrorizing my players, but giving them the opportunity to have a very friendly animal companion.
I love that very, very much. Thank you for the great work on these. Do you have the where can we find more from the artists who brought these to life?
So the artist is CTKR Studio. You can find them on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at CTK CTKR Studio.
So thank you for your amazing work on these. Thank you to Cameron Powell for bringing them to life and the wonderful write up. Again, I have lore questions. Once your transaction has taken place, it says about the mysterious egg. We bear no responsibility for any outcome, good or bad, that transpires. All sales are final. I really want to know more about the fantasy shopkeep who's bringing us these homebrew items. So that's my request. If we do more of these, I need the lore. Um, so that you can grab those items right now from the article, add them to your collection if you are a sub, share them with your players, and I hope that you will enjoy them and sow some lovely springy chaos.